Again, recorded. We are going to be giving this presentation again on the 20th of this month. So for those of you that have been tuning into Wellness Wednesdays, Celeste and I will be covering this topic again on Wednesday the 20th. That will be at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So mark your calendars. Like I said, we won't be sending out the replay for many reasons, which I'm sure you guys are aware of. So make sure that if you have somebody that you want to join and that's listening, that needs to hear this information, let them know ahead of time about Wednesday, and then also let them know that Wednesday we will not be sending out the recording as well, which is unfortunate, but it's just the world that we live in today. So with that being said, I want to welcome everyone on this Wednesday afternoon. Thank you for being with us. I know Celeste was excited about doing this presentation. She runs an incredible group that she pours her heart and soul into. So welcome. If you're joining in and you're part of Celeste's group, I want to just tell you guys welcome. You're very blessed to have Celeste as your wellness advocate and to be learning from her. She's incredible. I have so much respect for her. As we launch the presentation, I want to give you Celeste's background, her professional background. And I'm just going to read it because you've done a lot, girl. So I don't want to mess it up. So Celeste is a professionally trained homeopath. She homeschools 5 kids. She's had a passion for healthy living and natural remedies since she was a young mom. She served as a chapter leader for the Weston A. Price Foundation in Atlanta, Georgia. Celeste has taught seminars and organized regional conferences on nourishing traditional foods and nutritional therapy approaches. So she passed on the torch of chapter leader to attend homeopathy school, and she graduated homeopathy school in 2019. She holds a bachelor degree in electrical engineering and biomedical engineering from Johns Hopkins University. Wow, girl, you're amazing. She brings her love of science and physiology into her studies of nutrition and health, and she is passionate about helping individuals to naturally attain their best health possible. Wow, girl. I mean, come on. That's amazing. Johns Hopkins University. You are a brainiac and just so special. We're so blessed to have you. So will you just share with us today, before we launch this presentation on long COVID, solutions for long COVID, just a little bit about yourself and why you're so passionate about wellness and healing the body from the inside out?
Yeah, so thanks for having me, Jenny. I'm so excited to be here and to talk to all of you guys. Hello to all my friends who are joining me and the friends that I don't know yet. So love you all. I grew up very conventionally, and from a medical standpoint, my parents were pretty much just kind of, do everything the doctors say. And I had all of the antibiotics and all of the vaccines as a child on the schedule, way back in the 80s. There was not much there. I had allergies and constant tonsillitis, and I had got my tonsils out. Like the amoxicillin was always in the fridge, that kind of thing growing up. And by the time I became I got married. I actually married into holistic family. And so my family, my husband's family and my mother-in-law were actually huge influences for me. So she taught me she was studying to be a midwife at the time. So she told me all about home birth, and I was like, I'm all in. And I had all 5 of my kids at home, by the way. Awesome. It was a great experience. I wouldn't trade it for the world. And she also started teaching me about, just like basic nutrition and home remedies, the garlic and the echinacea, and, taking vitamin C even. And so I kind of started on my wellness journey then, and raised my kids, with treating little ailments at home, and hardly ever took them to the doctor, and just, real foods and all that stuff. But I still had my own health challenges and susceptibilities, from my growing up years and the challenges there. After having multiple kids and getting older and all that was starting to wear on me. And so I started looking for more solutions, and I found Weston Price, and they talked about these specific, traditional foods and the importance of fat soluble vitamins and cultured foods and all these things. And I just soaked it up, and I couldn't keep it in. I had to share. And so I became a chapter leader just so that I could share this information, and was really doing well with that. but it still wasn't enough for what I needed for my own health. And so I started learning about homeopathy, and I'm like, wow, homeopathy is incredible. Like, it really gets into the core of your vital force and what the the energetic aspects of your illness, and looking at illness from all angles, from physical and mental and emotional angles, and looking at the whole picture, and past and present, and your history, and seeing all this. And I really felt like, okay, we can get in there, and we can see kind of the origin of where the imbalances are in your vitality, and how to address that from a very fundamental perspective. And I really love getting down to the root of things, and addressing things on a fundamental level, not just covering up symptoms, or addressing specific things here and there. Really go down to the root. So I spent 5 years in homeopathy school, and really dived into that. And I've been working with clients, and doing some great things. And homeopathy is amazing, but I still felt like there was some just kind of additional picture aspects that weren't quite supporting me in what I needed. And around the time that I graduated from homeopathy school, I learned about this concept of activation, and getting to talking to the cells at the cellular level, and getting the cellular processes working. And that was just such a revelation to me. I felt like that all of my background in engineering and physiology, in nutrition and health, in the biomechanisms going on in the cells, like, all these things started like clicking in place. And I read the studies, and I'm like, this is a really important concept to understand. And so, my journey has been all about understanding that our bodies are amazing. We have an incredible capacity to heal, to be healthy, and we have incredible resources in the natural world to support us in that. And the most important thing for us is to be to incorporate the things that are most supportive to ourselves and our bodies and our vitality. And so that's kind of what has brought me here to where I am.
I love it, Celeste. And as the topic today that we're discussing is of course solutions for long COVID. We know that this has been the biggest topic of our time. We know that people are struggling big time. And I think the biggest reason for that is because we are dealing with an already chronically ill population. Okay. And that's what we're going to be discussing today, you guys, is giving you solutions so that you understand. Not only are you able to differentiate the information that you're being given from the big news media sources, and understanding that when you can fix that chronically ill issue, right? When you can get down to that cellular level and understand that you do have power and control over gene expression, over your body's health, and that it's a choice that you're going to make every single day. And that's really what lights me up on fire as well. For those of you that don't know me, just a real quick, I began my wellness journey when my son was vaccine injured about 11 years ago, and we weren't getting any answers really from any traditional doctor. So I really began my own research, and that's really what kind of led me on this journey and led me on this mission. And it really, everything came into play when my mom was diagnosed with triple negative breast cancer 4 years ago. We were able to, thanks be to God, heal her out of the system. Out of chemotherapy and out of all those things, because everything that I had ever learned to help my son was there to help my mother. And it really kind of opened up my belief. And then, watching what's been going on with COVID and all of the things that have been happening, and being able to differentiate truth from false, it's very important that you guys are going to hear this information today and understand that your health is in your hands. And so when we're dealing with this chronically ill population, it's just been chaos. And there's been a lot of people, I know this is part of the reason why Celeste wanted to host this presentation, is because it's been the question of the year. People suffering from long COVID, not getting better, in fact, getting worse. Their symptoms progressing, not getting better. So today we're going to really cover this topic. Celeste is going to go through, give her perspective, and we're going to teach you about what we believe to be the biggest health solution of our time. So Celeste, if you could start sharing your presentation. I'm really excited to dive into this today. And hopefully you're able to pull that up. I know that, are you able to? Okay, so as you pull that up, perfect.
Okay. Can you see that all right?
Yep, we got it. So I'm going to turn it back over to you. Let's dive in.
Okay, yeah. So, long COVID. Wow, big question. COVID kind of has taken us a lot of us by surprise. There's been a lot of huge variations in how people have responded to the illness itself, to the ramifications of it, how serious the illness itself has been, and then how the recovery has been, and this tendency for people to continue having issues with hair loss or taste and smell or vision or neuropathy or joints or whatever. Like there's so many things, and it's like, how can this all be coming from one thing, one illness? And it's just crazy. But there are some actual mechanisms, some cellular mechanisms going on, and mechanisms in the tissue and the physiology that are going on, that once we understand what some of those challenges are that the body is dealing with, then we can get at the root of the issue at hand, and we can leverage the cellular mechanisms to help the body regain health. Because something that that is a recurring theme for me in my work with, whether it's nutrition or homeopathy or just supporting people and health in general, is that people's expression of illness can be very different depending on a person's susceptibility, their history, what their body is, dealing with, and certain, weakness areas in their body. So the same mechanisms can manifest in different directions for different people. So if we understand the mechanisms and we address things at that level, then the body can make that healing happen in all the different directions. So
I love that, Celeste. And I love that you mentioned that everybody kind of has that expression differently, right? For some people, it can be hair loss. For some people, it's neuropathy. For some people, I still know people that have no taste or smell that has come back, and it's been almost a year. So, and
right.
when we're looking at genes, right, our genetic, how we express our genes, right? So that plays a role as well. And what we're talking about today is actually going to cover that, which I think is so fabulous, because when we have the ability to help that aspect, things get better, and you start seeing improvement. So
yeah, all of it involves cells. Whatever's going in your body involves cells, and so that's the most important thing to be able to address. So I don't know how much any of you guys have read the studies out there. There are a ton of studies out there on COVID and what's going on. And there is a big consensus in the medical research world that COVID-19 is a redox disease. Redox is a chemical term. It's one of those like scary, things from, if you remember 10th grade chemistry. But it just means oxidation and reduction, the handling of chemical reactions in the body that can go one way or the other. There's an oxidation direction and a reduction direction, and so there's and those reactions are really important for the cells to be able to do their work, the work that they need to do. And when you have a disruption in that balance of oxidation versus reduction and that capability in the cells, then you can have disruptions on a tissue and physiological level, and it can lead to things like persistent low-grade inflammation all over the body and can manifest in different ways. And so it's this low-grade inflammation going on, and the damage that's due to oxidative stress that is really at the heart of how people are responding to COVID-19 and the symptoms that they're experiencing.
Absolutely. I love that you brought that up, Celeste. And I think that's a consensus among some of the big naturopathic doctors, some of the most well-respected. You all hear them kind of talking about the same thing. Now it's different, right? A little bit of a different perspective than what people are hearing from the mainstream media and things like that. But it's phenomenal that they all agree that it's these core cellular issues that play a role in not only how sick people get, but that long-term COVID effect as well. So I love that you brought that up, just giving people the true perspective as to what's really going on here.
Right, right. Yeah, so we need to understand what is this oxidation happening? What's this oxidative stress that's going on in the cells? Because when we have excess of oxidation and not enough reduction in the cells, we have something called oxidative stress. And this is a huge health issue just in general in our population. So simply put, to explain what oxidative stress is, you can think of an apple as it starts to get brown. So you cut an apple and you leave it out on the counter, and that exposure to the air, to oxygen, actually creates a chemical reaction on the surface of the apple, and it makes it turn brown. Now, incidentally, what can you put on the apple to keep that from happening?
Lemon juice.
Lemon juice or liquid or vitamin C in liquid form.
I
Yes.
love the way lemon tastes on apple, but I love it.
Yes. Yes, it's a great combination. I love it. And that lemon juice, that vitamin C or citric acid in the lemon juice is actually counteracting that oxidation that's happening on the apple. So there you go. We have a protection from the damage that can be due to oxidative stress, right? So oxidation happens naturally in our bodies, and our bodies are constantly undergoing oxidative stress. And because we are living, we're not a apple sitting on the shelf just passively. Our bodies can actively respond to the oxidative stress in various ways. And we're going to talk about that. But oxidative stress is the primary mechanism of destructive action for the SARS-CoV-2 virus and the spike protein itself. And you guys know that the spike protein can do its own damage just all on its own. And then the virus itself, of course, with the spike protein. And so that action that it does, and this is actually, common to many viruses, but I think that, with this particular one, it's even more so. There's a higher degree of this that's happening with this virus, that it's attacking the cells in this way with massive amounts of oxidative stress.
I love it that you can see too here down below, Celeste, what it actually looks like as in our cells, right? As this oxidation is destroying our cells from the inside out, and that was one of the big things we learned when my mom was diagnosed with cancer was the tumor is actually a way of the body protecting itself from this oxidative stress and this damage, right? So it's incredible. I love this. I'm more of a visual learner, so
yeah, I love pictures as well. And I tell people, speaking of visuals, if you can imagine a rain barrel, okay, and the level of stress in your body, the level of stress of all kinds, oxidative stress is a main part of that. It's how the stress is manifest in the tissues, but the level of stress is like the level of water in the rain barrel. And if your water level is, moderate or low, then you can deal with some fluctuation in the stress levels in your body, and it's not going to impact your body. Your body can be flexible enough to manage and handle it. But if your stress levels are all the way up the top, if that water level is up high, right at the brim, then any level of additional stress, additional water coming into the barrel is going to spill over into symptoms. And this is what happens in our bodies. We have already oxidative stress from all different areas. We've got stress from the environment, from the foods that we eat, from EMFs and we've got emotional stressors and light stressors and all kinds of things, right? And they're adding to chemicals of pharmaceuticals that we're taking or medications that we're all kinds of stuff adding to the water levels in the barrel. And then we add COVID on top of that. We add the spike protein on top of that. And, our bodies just kind of get into overwhelm mode, and they're hovering at the top. So if you can imagine this, if you can lower the level of water in that rain barrel and give yourself some extra capacity, then the body can have some breathing room, can have some flexibility, and start moving in that healing direction.
Phenomenal. That was probably one of the best, what do you call it? Goodness gracious, I had another brain fart today.
Object lessons.
That was perfect. I love it. I mean, and the analogy, that's what I was trying to say.
Analogy, yes.
But I love it. That was perfect.
Awesome. So let's look at what happens just in general with uncontrolled oxidative stress in the bodies. This is going on at the cellular level, you guys, and oxidative stress it doesn't care what tissue it's attacking. It doesn't care what kind of cell it's attacking. So it really just kind of depends on, what your susceptibility is in terms of what's going to manifest in your body for symptoms. But if oxidative stress affects your heart, you're going to have cardiac disease and hypertension, even myocardial infarctions. On the skin, it's aging aspects and sunburn, dermatitis. For the kidneys, it can have the effect of chronic kidney disease. All these different things. You have all of these conditions, and the medical world has specific compartmentalized, ways to address the conditions. But if you look down at the root, again, you're looking at oxidative stress and that free radical damage, which is the chemicals going on. And all these things, by the way, can be found on PubMed. You can look at pubmed.gov, which is the United States government's repository of scientific papers, research papers, studies, scientific journals, and all that. They're all cataloged on pubmed.gov, and you go straight to the source and you look up oxidative stress and whatever you want, and you'll see that there are actual connections with that in the literature.
Incredible. Yeah, it's amazing that everything is connected. And I love that you can actually search this information out by going to PubMed, and just checking it. Type in oxidative stress. I think when I first started researching this, there was about 250,000 studies. And my goodness, over the last 10 years, it's just incredible to see how many issues in the body, when we're being compliant, saying we're not curing, treating, preventing, or mitigating disease. But when you understand the role that oxidative stress plays and you understand how you can reduce that, to me, it was just mind blowing.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. If you understand the mechanisms, and you can put two and two together, you can see, okay, and I'm not in charge of your body. I don't know what your body's going to do if you lower oxidative stress, but I'll guarantee it's probably going to help whatever you've got going, right? So yeah, and oxidative stress tends to accumulate over as we age because our bodies become less able to manage it and counteract it. And then you have the additional impact of illnesses like SARS-CoV-2 and the spike protein, that are accelerating that damage. So what happens when we get, what's the effect of oxidative stress that are going on as a result of COVID, of this illness itself? So again, we're manifesting things all over the body. This is why people who had, COVID and have symptoms, their symptoms are all over the map. Some of them have the loss of taste and smell. Some of them have hair loss. Some of them have, brain fog or neuropathy. Some of them have clotting issues. Some of them have joint swelling or nerve pain. Like there are all these different manifestations, but it's because this spike protein can get all over the body and can settle all over the place. So going through some of these, and I'm going to take a few minutes on this slide. In the blood vessels, the endothelial lining of the blood vessels are actually a primary target for the spike protein. And that kind of makes sense because it's floating around in the blood, and the protein itself, which is right on the outside, is, it's easy to target those, especially in the capillaries when there's very little, it's a tight fit, and the blood is flowing very slowly. People don't realize that the blood flows fairly slowly in the capillaries, so that the tissues have time to make their exchange of nutrients. But that gives the spike protein time to actually do its damage along that site. So that's why you have issues like coagulation, the clotting, you have damage to the blood vessels, and it can be a causative factor for strokes and heart attacks, and also that neuropathy in the extremities can be because of capillary damage. In the brain, you have the spike protein can actually cause damage to the blood-brain barrier. All this stuff I'm pulling out of studies that have come off of PubMed, by the way. This is not stuff that I'm just kind of throwing out, theorizing about. Disruption in the blood-brain barrier and actually causing inflammation in the brain. It's called neuroinflammation. And that can lead to brain fog. It can lead to cognitive impairment. And it can manifest in a lot of different, issues like depression, anxiety, psychopathological issues. There are studies that showed that, where did it go? Okay, a study tracked psychiatric symptoms in 402 adult individuals that were diagnosed with COVID-19 for a month after their hospital treatment. 56% of those individuals scored in the pathological range of at least one psychiatric dimension. 56% of them had psychological aspects from COVID. 42% anxiety, 40% insomnia, 31% depression, 28% PTSD, 20% for obsessive compulsive disorders. These are manifestations of neuroinflammation going on in the brain because of what? Oxidative stress. Some studies actually note neuroinflammation markers and microvascular lesions similar to Alzheimer's disease from the spike protein. So this is, there's a lot going on in the brain, in the nerves. Loss of taste and smell is a big one that people are concerned about. Interestingly enough, the spike protein doesn't seem to actually directly affect the receptors on the taste buds or in the nose. What's going on is it's actually damaging the nerves itself, that neural pathway from those centers to the brain. The virus can infect the motor or sensory nerve endings, which activate those transport mechanisms. And so it's actually impacting the central nervous system. It's a deeper thing than just fixing what's on the surface of the taste and smell. Interestingly enough, we're going to talk a lot about mitochondria as well. And the nerves require a lot of mitochondria to do their job. It's a high energy job that they have to do. Mitochondria are involved in energy. The mitochondria use and metabolize oxygen on a regular basis. So guess what they're very susceptible to? They're very susceptible to oxidative stress. And so this can affect like the way that your body handles energy and fatigue and things like this. Chronic fatigue is typically a disease of the mitochondria, but it also can impact the organs and tissues that have high concentrations of mitochondria, where the mitochondria need to be in top form. So what they found in studies again is that the spike protein actually hijacks the host cell's mitochondrial function to enable the virus to do its work in the cells. So it manipulates the mitochondrial function to evade the host cell immunity and facilitate virus replication in the COVID-19 disease. So it's actually hijacking and damaging those mitochondria, those important mitochondria, and it has the effect of activating what are called inflammasomes, which are inflammation materials in the cytoplasm, which have the effect of suppressing your body's innate and adaptive immunity. So,
goodness, Celeste, I mean, just hearing you kind of say these things and just putting it into perspective, it's just mind blowing. And when you're talking about hijacking, we have a solution for that. We're talking about biohacking the body, right? Being able to take that hijacked state of the body and moving it over to that biohacking state. And I love it. I love that we're not going to just leave them here hanging with all of these depressing stats, but talk about.
Oh, good luck, guys.
Okay.
Well, but that's the thing. I mean, so how many people have heard that? Oh, well, it's just how it is. Oh, someday you'll get your taste and smell back. Oh, right. Hopefully your hair grows back. We'll cross our fingers for you. Right. I mean, the medical world, if they don't have a particular pharmaceutical for it, they're like, oh, well, good luck. And if you had to try to come up with a specific solution for every single one of these issues, I mean, we'd be working for the next 20 years and not fix them all, right? Like it, but if you are understanding the mechanisms and you can support the body in those areas, in the way that the body is dealing with the oxidative stress and supporting the mitochondria and rebuilding those very important cellular functions, then you can unwind this in a way that supports the natural health of the cells.
Absolutely.
And that's kind of the most important thing. We don't want to do something that is overwhelming the body's natural state of health.
Absolutely. And, I think it just comes down to a different business plan. Traditional doctors, your primary care providers, they have a very specific way that they are able to treat you. And it does this sort of a solution does not fit that sort of business plan. But when you're able to differentiate, getting to that root cause, that cellular level cause, and being able to peel apart the layers, it's like a layer of an onion, right? When you're dealing with chronic illness, you're dealing with that onion, and there's so many layers. We've got underlying stealth infections. We've got a population that is chronic candida, chronic parasite infection. All of these things, it's like peeling back that onion. So when you understand that you can peel back those layers to get to that root, that's mind blowing to me.
That's right. Absolutely. Absolutely. A couple of things on here before we move on. The spike protein, I didn't put a good picture on it, but it can also impact the what's called the HPA axis, which is the hypothalamus, pituitary, and adrenals, which is the hormone hormone signaling aspect of your body. And again, high levels of mitochondria needed, especially for those adrenals. They work really hard, and very susceptible to oxidative stress. That also impacts the thyroid with metabolism. So things like chronic fatigue and being able to have enough energy for your day. Hair follicles. The hair follicles, talk about working like all the time, right? High levels of mitochondria again, and very susceptible to oxidative stress. This is why, by the way, people lose their hair after chemo. What does chemo do? It attacks the cells, it attacks the mitochondria. It's huge levels of oxidative stress that it's lobbing at the body, because it's trying to kill the cancer cells and hoping that the rest of the cells are resilient enough to survive through that, right? But those high turnover cells, like the hair follicles and the lining of the gut, are very, very susceptible to that, which is why you get the nausea from chemo and the hair loss from chemo. And anybody who's had that experience knows that. I know you know about that, Jenny. But with COVID, thankfully, it's not as high levels as what we're talking about with chemo, but still very high levels of oxidative stress. And if the hair is a point of susceptibility for you, then you may experience that hair loss because of that oxidative stress. And then the joint and nerve pain. That inflammation happening because of oxidative stress in the joint tissue itself, that's a primary mechanism for things like rheumatoid arthritis, osteoarthritis. You've got these are diseases of inflammation, and those are autoimmune manifestations. But in here with the spike protein is it's creating that itself, creating that inflammation because, again, of oxidative stress. Okay, so that was a lot. So that's the bad news. Now we're going to get to hopefully the good news, which is how do we manage this? How do we fight this oxidative stress? How do we get the mitochondria back online? How do we get ourselves back to health on a cellular level? So you've got all this inflammation going on in your body. You've got all this damage from the oxidative stress. You've got free radicals running amok, and they are just tearing at things. It's like a forest fire in your body. And if I had to give you a choice between fighting a big raging fire with a Dixie cup or with a fire hose, which would you rather prefer?
I know it's not a trick question, but obviously the fire hose.
I would hope so. I don't think the Dixie cup's going to get you very far. You'd have to be real fast with that Dixie cup. So we all know, again, oxidative stress, oxidation. Antioxidants are a way that our bodies can combat oxidative stress. And we know about antioxidants. We have them in foods like blueberries and vitamin C and dark chocolate and red wine, all this stuff. And, you know, people are always talking about having a good source of antioxidants in your diet. And I love blueberries and I love dark chocolate. But the problem is that every time you eat antioxidants and they get into your system, they can combat a free radical and then they go away. And then another one has to come in and combat a free radical and neutralize it and go away. And you have to keep bringing it in. It's a 1-to-1 ratio, 1-to-1 correlation of bringing the antioxidant molecule in, combating the free radical, and coming out of the picture. So you have to keep eating the blueberries and the dark chocolate. And I don't know if my waist could handle all that dark chocolate, but it's an incredible thing. Again, getting down to the incredible aspects of our bodies, because our bodies actually have mechanisms for creating their own antioxidants. And isn't it amazing that our bodies don't just create antioxidants, they create antioxidant enzymes. And again, looking back to that high school, now we're in biology class. An enzyme is a substance that is used to facilitate a chemical reaction and then comes out the other side in its original form and can be used again over and over and over again. And so if you have antioxidant enzymes right in the cells, they can neutralize and churn through those oxidative free radicals at a ratio of 1,000,000 to 1, and they can be used over and over and over again. And this is the fire hose that your body has blessed you with. Your cells have this built in to their functionality, and they make these antioxidant enzymes. And I don't know about you, but I would really like to know how to tap in to that functionality and just support it, rev it up a notch when we are so bombarded with that rain barrel of stress, and we want to turn on that capacity and get those gears going better so that we can manage that. Okay, so looking at the major cellular antioxidants in our cells, there are 3 of them. I think there are 3 major ones: glutathione, catalase, and SOD. SOD stands for superoxide dismutase, by the way. How many of you guys have heard of glutathione? Yeah?
Drop a chat below. Yes.
Yeah, if you've heard of glutathione, yeah, put a wave in the chat or say glutathione in the chat. Glutathione is the body's it's a master antioxidant and detoxifier in the cells, and it has been studied all over the place, known for its anti-aging power and its benefit in fighting cancer, heart disease, dementia, other chronic diseases. Do any of these diseases remind you of a chart that we saw a couple slides ago? What do these diseases have in common? What's at the root of them? Oxidative stress, right? Glutathione is a major factor in combating oxidative stress. It's a recycler of antioxidants because it has that enzymatic effect. It controls inflammation, supports the immune system, and guess what? Endogenous deficiency. Endogenous means inside the body or inside the cells. Endogenous deficiency of glutathione is the most likely cause of serious manifestations and death in COVID-19 patients. Wow. This is incredible. This is saying you don't have enough glutathione, and that's why you're getting sick. That's why you're getting more sick.
Absolutely. I think we have like I said, it goes back to a chronically ill population, but when you look at the key factors, it's a severe high glutathione deficiency. When you see kids that are struggling on the spectrum, one of the biggest common factors is a glutathione deficiency. I want to reference what Amanda's saying here. She says that glutathione here been through many brands and right? And so when we're talking about supplementation with glutathione, we have, you see now these big IV bars and all of these people giving glutathione IVs. Your body, this is endogenous to your body. Your body, it actually produces this primarily in the liver. So when you're supplementing with glutathione, now you're coming down to the absorption rate. You know, there's nothing more powerful than your body making its own glutathione. And that's where you see there's nothing more expensive than a supplement that doesn't work, right?
Yes. Well, and let me explain that a little further, Jenny.
Yes.
Because people need to understand what the science is behind this. Glutathione is a protein. And guess what your digestive tract does to proteins when you ingest them? it breaks them down because your body doesn't like foreign proteins coming into it whole, like intact, because foreign proteins signify an invader. Okay, so when you are eating proteins like meat or plant proteins or whatever, when you're eating them in your diet, and we need them in our diet, your digestive system breaks apart those proteins into the amino acid building blocks that make them up, and that's what is absorbed through your digestive tract into your bloodstream and taken to the cells, so the cells can take those amino acids and build them back up into proteins again, right? So you got this, like, you've got a Lego house, and the body takes apart all the Lego into the individual Legos, and then in the cells they can build up the Lego house again. Well, that doesn't help you get glutathione itself into the bloodstream. If you ingest it, how much of that is actually making it into the bloodstream? I'll give you a news flash. If you're getting some into the bloodstream, your body's probably got a leaky gut problem because you're allowing more proteins into your bloodstream than you should. Like, so the natural health world has been struggling with this for a while, because people have known that glutathione is an issue and the body needs more glutathione. And so the approach is, let's give the body more glutathione, but the body doesn't want to take in glutathione orally. And so they say, okay, let's trick the body. Let's put it into a liposomal form, which is coating it with fat. And so if we have it in a small enough form, that's just a fat molecule, then maybe the fat molecules can get through, and then the glutathione can be taken up by the cells. Okay, yeah, that can work. Again, absorption and utilization is an issue, and it's also like hugely expensive. So that's liposomal glutathione does not taste good either. I've had some. And another way is, okay, let's do IV straight into the bloodstream. Well, I don't know about you, but I don't want to go to an IV every day, right? You have like all these, they have precursors. Okay, anybody heard of NAC? NAC is the darling of the COVID world, and for good reason, because NAC is a precursor to glutathione in the body. NAC actually is one of the molecules that the body uses in the cells to make glutathione in the cells. Great, so you give the body a building block. Well, NAC isn't the only building block, and you have to get that cysteine, which is N-acetylcysteine. It's an amino acid that needs to go into the cells. What it turns out is that the limiting factor in making glutathione is often not the amount of cysteine available, but the ability, there's a turnstile mechanism that enables the cysteine to get into the cells, and often it's that turnstile mechanism that is not functioning as well as it should be. And so you could pile up pile up cysteine, NAC, at the door, and it could just sit there and not get into the cells. And there's a great video of the scientists I'm going to talk about in a minute. If you put Synergy or well, we already said glutathione, but NAC or Synergy into the comments. Hopefully I can have the comments after to look through, but and I can send you that video because he has a really good explanation for that. So yes, NAC can be helpful, but if we can help the body, again, get back to those major cellular antioxidants and actually make the glutathione itself, along with not just glutathione, but catalase and SOD, all these antioxidant factors, if we can get all of them made, then we're going to be in a much better state. One more thing. How many of you guys have heard that vitamin D levels are a huge factor in serious manifestations and death in COVID-19 patients?
Absolutely. Yes.
Vitamin D is a huge factor. Well, guess what? Yep. Vitamin D levels in the body are directly linked to glutathione. Did you know that? There's studies, several studies reported that glutathione levels positively correlate with active vitamin D. Lower levels of L-cysteine, which is that precursor, and glutathione stimulating hormone correlated with lower vitamin D binding protein and vitamin D levels in patients. So if you have low vitamin D, if you have low glutathione, you're going to have low vitamin D. Those two go together. So if you, and I've seen this, when we activate the cells to produce more glutathione, guess what happens to people's vitamin D levels? Like lab determined vitamin D levels.
They raise naturally.
Do without extra supplements. How many of you people know people who are taking like massive amounts of vitamin D, 2,000, 5,000, 10,000 IU of vitamin D every day, and their levels are still staying low?
Absolutely.
But if you can raise the glutathione, that's the missing link, right?
Yeah, I agree with that, Celeste. It's interesting when you understand one of the things we learned in my mom's cancer journey was also the nagalase factor. People that have high chronic inflammation have high nagalase, that was a part of them developing. I guess we shouldn't say this online since doctors have been off for this science, but it's incredible to know how much of an impact low glutathione and low vitamin D have on the entire body. It's
Mhm.
and that's, I love it because you're bringing it back to getting the body to do the work, getting the body to produce these major cellular antioxidants, you guys, is the point that Celeste is trying to make. When your body produces these in a natural function at a cellular level, that is so impactful. I mean, Celeste has given you so much information and reason why this is phenomenal. So let's go and show them what we actually know.
Yeah, let's get into brass tacks here. All right. So so we're going to talk about a particular set of products that talk to the cells, directly to the cells, and activate these mechanisms. And this, Jenny, can you give a little bit of the background here? I want to let you speak to this.
Yes, I love it. This is one of my favorite parts. So if you haven't seen this ABC Primetime Investigative Report, get with the person that invited you today. I know Celeste has access to it, but it's incredible because where all of this science and where all of this research is going, obviously we're going to provide you the top solution, is that this started back in the 60s with the discovery of that molecule that Celeste pointed out. That's that SOD molecule. This doctor, Dr. McCord, founded this SOD molecule in his research. And what he found was that this molecule had the power to reduce that oxidative stress. And so he basically devoted his whole life's work. He actually won the Elliott Crescent Medal. They've given that medal to people that have really kind of changed the course of history with their discoveries. Alexander Graham Bell, Pierre and Marie Curie have been a recipient of this award, but Dr. McCord won this award because of his research and discovery of SOD, and then ultimately his development of a product called Protandim NRF2. And I love it because ABC did an investigative primetime report on this information on Dr. McCord and his research and study that he did at the University of Colorado. And because of that discovery, we now have what we've told you, the biggest solution, and I believe the biggest discovery in health of our time. And we're going to be sharing that with you here on this next slide. But the most important thing is that you don't have to believe Celeste and I. You can go look at this information. You can go to PubMed.gov. You can type in Protandim and you can see that there are over 28 peer-reviewed studies on this beautiful product that we're going to be covering and results of. We know that the biggest solution to the problems that we're dealing with today in our bodies. So
that's right. And one thing I will say, when Dr. McCord discovered SOD, people didn't even know that the body had antioxidants in the cells. And when they discovered it, they didn't know what it was for. They're like, huh, the cells have antioxidants? Really? What's it doing? Oh, all these other cells in all these mammals, basically any cells that metabolize oxygen, they have these antioxidant enzymes. Huh, what are they doing? That started the science of free radical medicine and biology. That like started right there with that discovery. And then the development of this NRF2, it like these universities were like, what is this doing? And you started doing the research. So this is 100% led by what's going on in the cells and how can we access that. So so this is the big discovery that that was made, the Protandim NRF2 synergizer. Jenny, do you want to talk?
Absolutely, I'd love to.
Yeah. Okay, you go through some of the stuff because you're better at that.
Oh, you're so cute. No, I think you're phenomenal. Oh my gosh, I'm blown away by your knowledge. But we're going to just talk a little bit about what Protandim NRF2 synergizer actually does. The most power and impactful thing that this product does is it lowers oxidative stress by an average of 40% in 30 days. So everything that Celeste just covered, this product is clinically proven to lower oxidative stress by an average of 40% in 30 days. It naturally increases the body's production of glutathione by 300%. So guess what that does? There's no need to supplement with expensive glutathione supplements anymore, because what is this product doing? At a cellular level, it is going in and it's having your body produce its own glutathione. And this blew my mind when I saw this. Produces enzymes capable of neutralizing more than 1 million free radicals, right? Celeste gave you that analogy with the Dixie cup and the fire hose. And then it supports the body's own natural ability to repair and rejuvenate its own cells. You guys, this is cellular level stuff. This is root cause. This product can go in at the root cause and fix what's going on in the cell, right? I don't know what else we need to tell you, but when I saw this information, I knew I wanted this product in my hand in that very second. So we're going to cover what's in it. It's 5 plant ingredients: turmeric, green tea, bacopa, milk thistle, and ashwagandha. But most importantly, Celeste, I think we can go to the next slide and you can show them the synergy of what these 5 ingredients are doing. For many of you that are joining that may be on some of these, herbs already, I know a lot of people that take turmeric on a daily basis. What's great about this product is that the synergy of this blend makes each ingredient 18 times more effective. So ultimately, if you're taking ashwagandha, if you're taking all of these things, you can't even take enough of it to do what this product is doing basically in the body. So it's just incredible that it makes each of these, it's like baking a cake, right? It's that perfect ratio. It's that perfect synergy. What's incredible is that we actually have patents on this product. If you know anything about patents, you can't patent things that grow from the ground. The FDA doesn't allow it. We actually have patents on the synergy of this product, which blows my mind. It gets me excited. So that's
absolutely.
I'd like to explain.
And this, what this slide is showing here, the video that I mentioned of Dr. McCord talking about synergy. If you get with us and ask us about the synergy video, hopefully the person who referred you to this will know what I'm talking about. But there's a really great video where Dr. McCord talks about what's going on with these individual herbs and then what happens when we put it together. And it actually caught them by surprise. What Dr. McCord and the team that was working with him was trying to do initially was just to develop a really good antioxidant supplement. That's it, And so they were looking at some different options for plants to include, and they're like, oh yeah, turmeric's a good antioxidant. Oh yeah, ashwagandha is a good antioxidant. How about we include some green tea? And they did some experimenting with ratios and everything, and what they hit on just blew everything out of the water. And they're like, wow, what is this doing? And it blew the entire medical world out of the water. And because of that, we have, like Jenny was mentioning, over 25, I think 28 now, peer-reviewed journal publications on PubMed.gov, specifically on this all natural 5 herbs product. How many natural supplements that just made from herbs have legit independent peer-reviewed studies on PubMed? It's incredible. And then the NRF2 pathway, which is what's activated in the cells. It's called an NRF2 pathway. Don't ask me what NRF2 stands for. I can never remember. It's scientific mumbo jumbo. But that pathway in the cells, that's the pathway that is utilized to create these antioxidant enzymes. This pathway was discovered because this synergizer Protandim was developed. It wasn't a product looking for a market. It was a product that was its own solution. And then it's like, we need people to know about this, right? So you can look on PubMed, you can see the studies from all these universities, even some biotech companies. They are trying to develop their own way to activate the NRF2 pathway. Nothing has been able to eclipse what the Protandim NRF2 synergizer does with 5 simple herbs.
Yes, I love it. The body is the miracle. And this is one of my favorite studies. I absolutely love this. I'll let you cover this, Celeste, but this blows my mind.
Yeah, so this is from Washington State University. It was a study with Martin Paul and Stephen Levine, and they determined that NRF2, which again is this master regulator of detoxification and antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, and all other cytoprotective mechanisms. Cyto means cell, protecting the cell, mechanisms within the cell that are protecting it. NRF2 is the master regulator. is raised by health promoting factors. And so they determined that NRF2, this one mechanism in the cell, may well become the most extraordinary therapeutic and most extraordinary preventative breakthrough in the history of medicine. Being able to access and activate this particular pathway in the cells, and Protandim NRF2 Synergizer does it better than anything else in the market.
Mind blowing.
Okay, we've got some more to show though, because there's more to the story. We talked a lot earlier about the damage that's happening to our mitochondria because of oxidative stress and because of the mechanisms of the SARS-CoV-2 protein itself. And mitochondrial damage, so mitochondria, again, back to ninth grade biology again, I'm giving you guys lots of flashbacks here. But the mitochondria are the powerhouses of the cells. They are the energy factories. They produce ATP in the cells, and ATP is the energy currency that is used for every single productive chemical reaction in the body. ATP is just so essential. And so these mitochondria powerhouses are working around the clock. And because of their dealings with oxygen all the time, they are susceptible to oxidative stress. And then we have more oxidative stress on them, then they can tend to be damaged and degrade over time. And dysfunction of the mitochondria contributes to an inflammatory cascade. And like we said, the SARS-CoV-2 protein directly damages and hijacks the mitochondria, which leads to those inflammatory factors in the cells. So it's really important that we are able to support the health and resilience and repair of the mitochondria in the cells so that they can do their essential work of running the body and also the work of healing that needs to happen. So Jenny, tell us about the NRF1 Synergizer.
As well, I love it. This is also one of my favorite products. So blessed that I've been able to take these now. I think, gosh, going on 10 years, so thankful, but I love this NRF1 Synergizer. It supports the production and repair of your mitochondria. So that powerhouse of the cell, it helps to increase cellular energy, which is ATP, and supports just overall cellular health. So as we age, our mitochondria decline by up to 50% as we age. So the older we get, right, the less that our cells are producing these, you know, and the less effective our cells are working. So we need something to kind of rev that engine back up. And I love it. These 5 herbs, and I actually love to cover the fact that these 5 herbs are super imperative and they're very expensive on their own. So when you're actually breaking down the cost of this product, I'm blown away that it's only around $49 or something like that. Because if you actually take apart the quercetin, acetyl-L-carnitine, alpha lipoic acid, all of these important herbs, they're actually, I think I came over to like almost over $200 if you were to take these individually. And most importantly, who wants to sit and take a bunch of pills all day long? So it's all combined into one, and I absolutely love it. It's effective at repairing that mitochondria. It's like a 1-2 punch for the cells, right? Reducing oxidative stress with the NRF2, and then rebuilding that mitochondria with the NRF1. And I love it. We call them sister products, but
yeah, they really work well together. And you brought up a really interesting point, Jenny, because you know what these products are doing. Both of these products are called synergizers for a reason. They're not called supplements. And the reason that we call them synergizers or activators, I like to use the term activation because we're activating our cells, but it's because supplementing is the act of saying your body is low in this, and so we need to give you more of this so that your body can be higher in this so it can function, right? So your body needs more acetyl-L-carnitine, your body needs more coenzyme Q10, your body needs more turmeric because the turmeric is going to help your body, right? So the supplement world is often about giving, you know, large amounts of a particular, you know, product like turmeric, typically like 700 milligrams or something in a capsule of turmeric that people are taking because they're hoping that their body can absorb and assimilate and utilize the products, and they're giving, like, you know, they're giving the ingredients. They're, again, piling ingredients at the door. What these synergizers do is they're not concerned so much with the specific ingredients as the messaging that happens when all 5 of them are working together. And so when those 5 are together and they are in the cell tissues, the cells recognize that as a signal. And that signal is what activates the NRF2 pathway and goes and flips on these genes to get the cell functioning again. So we are using actually like micro dosing of these herbs. We're not using massive amounts. We're using small amounts that are synergistically effective, working together to signal to the cells, which I think is also amazingly powerful, because we're not trying to, pile up a bunch of stuff that the body doesn't need. We're giving exactly what it needs in a form that it can utilize.
I love it.
Okay, so a third avenue in the cells that is really fascinating to me is the NAD or sirtuin pathway in the cells. So I had never heard of sirtuins. I'd heard of NAD before, but sirtuins, I had no idea what those are. Sirtuins are proteins in the cells that are actually they are protective of the DNA, what's called the telomeres, which is the end caps of the DNA that are indicators of a body's longevity. Did you know you have a sign in your cells that says that says this body is this many, has this much time left, like there's actual mechanism in here. The telomeres, the longer the telomeres are, the longer lifespan of capability the cell has. And the sirtuins protect that lifespan capability. So they are actually supporting your longevity. They're also responsible for cellular cleanup. The term is autophagy, which is where the cells, auto means self and phagy means eat. So the cells are eating their own waste and cleaning up to make things function better. And that is so that we don't overwhelm the cells with all the waste that's going on from damage done to the cells and tissues. And so the activity of sirtuins in the body is really important for this cellular functioning and intercellular communication. And the NAD is the molecule within the cells that regulates the activity of sirtuins. So now we can talk about an NAD synergizer. Woohoo!
I love it. And this is what we call the tri-synergizer. So this is the third part of that Protandim product. So when you're using these three together, it's incredible because you're hitting each one of that. I like to call it foundational. When you're getting to that cellular level, when you're getting to that cell healing, you're really able to focus on those key factors that determine cellular health. It's mind-blowing to me. So as you said, Celeste, this product supports that. I always say autophagy. Am I saying that wrong? How did you?
Autophagy is the.
Okay, well, I didn't do very well in biology class, so I guess I was saying it wrong. I love it. I learned something new today. What I love about this product is, you hear that intermittent fasting is the buzzword, right? It's all the rage, and this product actually mimics that intermittent fasting. This is why people intermittent fast, is because they're trying to increase that sirtuin activity. And part of what they're doing is, of course, taking out that cellular waste, right? Removing that cellular waste. And that's the purpose for intermittent fasting, that this product does that more effectively. You don't need to starve yourself. That's what I always tell people. I actually enjoy intermittent fasting. Some people don't, but it really supports the body's response to inflammation, helps to maintain that healthy cholesterol level, and supports the vascular system, which of course we know that when we're dealing with SARS-CoV and long COVID and all of the things in regards to COVID, the vascular system is very hugely impacted. So this product is, I believe, imperative, and it's clinically proven to double that sirtuin activity in 24 hours. So.
Yes. And let me clarify a little bit about intermittent fasting, because what the studies have shown is, so when you intermittent fast, you are confining your eating, you're taking in of food to a smaller window of the day, right? So typically people say, okay, I'm going to only eat between the hours of like 10 and 6, right? And so they're fasting for the rest of the time, as opposed to getting up at 8 in the morning and having a midnight snack at 11 p.m. right before bed or whatever. Like they're constricting the amount, the time that they're eating, so they lengthen the amount that they're fasting. However, that's not what's been shown to be most effective for increasing the sirtuin activity in the cells. What increases sirtuin activity is actually caloric restriction. So caloric restriction is so intermittent fasting, typically you're still eating the same amount of calories a day, but you're just having it in a smaller window. Caloric restriction says, let's reduce the amount of calories actually fast, right? And so what they found is if you can reduce your caloric intake to about 40% of what you would normally eat total in a day, then you can increase the activity of sirtuins by about 92%. Okay, I don't know about you guys. I might be able to do that for 1, maybe 2 days, but this is not something that I want to do on a regular basis. And it sounds pretty miserable. And you also have issues with nutrition and concerns about getting the nutrients that your body needs to function in general. So fasting can be very therapeutic, and some people have actually found success in doing a very significant fast for long COVID symptoms, and it's cleaned them out. Yeah, because it activates that cellular cleanup and really gets that survival gear kicked in. But if you can do that in a natural way, in a way that activates your body's own mechanisms and in a way that doesn't impact your lifestyle, and you're able to function and still help your cells do the work that they need to do. I mean, that's like best of both worlds.
Absolutely.
So yeah, we've got.
There you go. So this is our solution, guys. I love it. Try Synergizer here, and Celeste, I'll let you take this one. I mean, we've already covered it, but
yeah, we've already covered it. And I'll say is that each of these is really effective on their own. Together, they actually, again, there's a synergy involved in how they are signaling to the genes in the cells and functioning better. So I love the way that each of these addresses different aspects of kind of the machinery of the cells, and then you get the whole factory going at the same time. So we have talked a lot about oxidative stress and inflammation and how to address that with increasing, the cellular function. But we have a couple of additional solutions to look at, because to address specific things. And Axio is one of those that I love it because of the way that it impacts the brain. And it's called a nootropic. So a lot of people have heard of like energy drinks and stuff. Axio is not an energy drink. It provides some smart energy, but it's more nootropic, which means nutrition for the brain. And so Axio actually utilizes some, again, simple compounds to get right through the blood-brain barrier, which in a healthy way to improve the functioning of neurotransmitters. Whoops, I put the star in the wrong place there. And it helps the brain be more resilient to stress. So we've got the brain fog, the neuroinflammation, the concentration, the mood, depression, all these aspects that are factors in long COVID symptoms and in people's lives in general. And Axio really addresses that from a very foundational standpoint, and really gets more, helps the brain work more effectively and smoothly. Jenny, do you have any comments on that?
Well, I mean, you covered it beautifully. I was a big coffee drinker, and I never was an energy drink person. But it tastes good. And the great thing about this product is it helps to reduce that brain fog, increase that mental awareness. People just notice, like, instead of that energy drink issue, where you're getting that crash, that high amount of energy, and then you crash on the other side. This is more focused on that long-term sustained energy, which I love, because throughout the day, I used to always want to take a nap about 3 or 4 o'clock. this really just, I noticed in increased clarity, just better mood overall. And what I love about this is it's easy and great for the entire family. I actually have to hide it from my kids because they love it. And my son drinks it. He's a competitive athlete. He drinks it every day. Uh,
Uh-huh.
I love all the flavors. It tastes delicious. We actually make Axio popsicles. I mean, goodness, once
Oh, fun.
I don't know a person that starts this product that doesn't fall in love with it and stay on it forever. It's
Yep.
one of those things that just is, and it's a perfect solution for so many things. But when you're dealing with these long COVID symptoms, I was able to give it to a good friend of mine, and it was just mind blowing. She said within a day or two, she felt 50% better just from drinking that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And it's interesting when you're looking at the activation, that tri-synergizer that we are talking about, you're looking at increasing the cell's capacity to function and work, but sometimes it takes some time for that cleanup to happen and for the for things to percolate up so that you can see, effectiveness at the symptom level, because we know that we're working under the hood, but what the body does with that and how that manifests can take some time. But Axio is something that you can that most people feel a amazing effect from right away, and it's very supportive and very, very natural feeling. Um, there is an interesting, really interesting presentation that was done by a neuroscientist who was curious. He had he talks about a case study in his practice of a kid who had ADD or ADHD, I forget, and he gave this patient Axio, NRF2, and NRF1, and he did brain scans before and after. And if you want to watch the video, ask whoever sent you here for the neuroscientist video on Axio, the brain video,
Yeah.
brain scans. Yeah.
I love it. I mean, when you see these I think he specializes in brain mapping.
Yes.
And you can see the inflammation and just before and after, just taking the
Yes.
even
This hyperactivity in the brain there's the calming effect. So he talks about it more in the video, but it's really incredible to see how that works.
Absolutely.
And then as you're looking at NRF2 itself and the how important it is to lower the oxidative stress, one of the biggest parts that we have to deal with is oxidative stress because of factors on our skin and again on our hair, right? The hair loss, the skin aging, all these things. If you can reverse that oxidative stress right at the level of the hair and skin, that gives the cells that much more support. And so there are solutions for that with hair care, skin care, and personal care, where we're utilizing the NRF2 signaling right in the products.
Yeah, when you're talking about healing, I think you have a lot of anti-aging companies out there, but when you understand that it starts from the inside and then you can support on the outside. I like to point out the hair care because so many people are suffering from hair loss, as a result of dealing with COVID. So yeah, that's what I love mostly about, well, I love the hair care line as it is, just because it's non-toxic, but it's incredible. I mean, that serum is just, we have a lot of before and after. So get with the person that invited you if you go in and look at just incredible.
Yeah, specifically, yes, how these work together. The scalp serum is this extra product, shampoo, conditioner, and a scalp serum, and it really just nourishes those hair follicles and helps reduce that, again, level of water in the barrel. And if you can combine that with the NRF2 and NRF1 on the surface, because again, you've got to support that oxidative stress and mitochondria aspects, you can have a really great benefit for your system. So there's all kinds of options out there. Jenny, can you talk a little bit about?
Yeah, I think the best thing that people know is they can go to the site, go to the website directly. But I like that the company finally put these in stacks for targeted health solutions. The foundation is always going to be those cellular products, right? So we're always looking at, we're an NRF2 company. That's where this all started. So you'll notice that all of the stacks will have the Protandim products in them, but maybe you have a specific focus for your health. Maybe it's energy, maybe it's a heart health, right? Maybe you're struggling with immune health. We've got an incredible daily wellness immune drink. And what I love is that it's not an overly, I think so many people overdose on the zinc and the echinacea. It's the perfect amount to do daily. because of course you don't want to take too much. It's the perfect combination. I love our immune health stack. But you're really able to go in and just determine what your focus is. Maybe it's health, it's metabolism. Maybe you're struggling with weight loss. And I love it. We have a gut health stack. So definitely go do your research on the website. You can get that from the person that invited you. But it really helps because when you're looking at targeted health solutions, you're able to kind of focus on that specifically. But the most important part is to know that you'll always see our Protandim line as the foundation of these targeted health solutions, because, it starts with the cells. And most importantly, I hear so many people on so many different supplements. What I love about this product line is that people are able to mostly get rid of most supplements or products that they're taking on a daily basis, change those out, save the money on the back end. And then once they add other additional things, right? This is the foundation of the house. Once they want to add a window or do all the other things, they're going to find that their absorption rate will be better, that they're going to have better results with the other supplements that they do decide to take because of that strong foundation. And that's really what these targeted health solutions are focused on. So it just makes it easier, because I know before we had these, people are like, well, I want this and I want that. So this really helps to really target what you're wanting to focus on in regards to your health.
Yep. There's a lot of science going on here, but once you understand what the products do and you see how they can be put together, then it makes it easy to make some decisions about what your priorities are for your health.
Absolutely.
So really what it's all about is getting to the root. As we said at the beginning, we have to understand that, if you want to address your health problems, the best thing you can do is get to the roots so you can keep them from popping up again. Those susceptibilities are there, the manifestations are there, but if you can support the cellular processes, support those cellular mechanisms, and utilize them to move in a direction of health, then you can actually find some real solutions. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys today.
Celeste, wow, you have just blown my mind in your knowledge and just understanding. Guys, we covered a lot of science, a lot of words that I didn't even know. But all you have to know is that we found a solution here. Don't get too stuck on the science. You can go and research everything on your own. But know that what we shared today is literally, like I said, you guys, I believe the biggest health breakthrough of our time. And I'm just so thankful that you guys took the time out to look for solutions. If you, like I said, if you know of anybody that probably needed to hear this presentation, we won't be sending out the recording for many reasons, which I'm sure you guys are aware of, just FDA issues, compliance issues, medical claim issues in regards to COVID. But we will be doing this presentation again on Wednesday evening, the 20th. It'll be our weekly Wellness Wednesday presentation that we host. Celeste and I will be covering this information again. And as well, not giving out the recording. I've had to say it quite a bit, but I know it's bumming people out. But we're here. We'd love to connect with you. Get with the person that invited you. I know a lot of you are here from Celeste Group. She'd be more than happy to support you in getting you more info. And we just appreciate you guys. I know that this presentation was a bit long, but I think the information we covered was just really important for the population to hear. So Celeste, I appreciate you. I don't know if you want to close out with any last ideas. But you are probably one of the smartest people I know. You blew my mind.
It's been really fun to chat science with you guys. Thank you for your indulgence. I hope that it's helpful to see some of these how these things fit together. Really, what it comes down to is that I'm passionate about supporting people in their health and doing it from a natural perspective. And so, having this information for you, if you feel like it resonates with you and it makes sense, feel free to talk to whoever brought you here. I would love to talk to people who know me from my group or from otherwise connected with me. Just having simple ways that we can support our health holistically and at the root. That's what it's all about. So I hope this gives you guys hope and some solutions to move forward. And thanks for your time.
Thanks, everyone. Take care. Have a great Wednesday. Bye. Bye. Thanks, Celeste. We'll talk soon.